there, if you're overwhelmed by all the supplement options out there, I want to help you simplify this and sort it out today. So let me simplify it for you. I want to share with you my 5 favorite foundational supplements for overall health today. And in a future video, I will share one specifically related to gut health. But these are really the foundation, and I want to make this simple for you. So let's go. If you're wondering who I am, my name is Erin Harner. I'm a gut health and IBS and SIBO dietitian. I've been doing this work for the last 15 years, helping motivated women who are struggling with gut issues, things like gas and bloating, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, SIBO, you name it, get relief so they can move on with their lives, so they can travel and enjoy meals with family and stop having their symptoms rule their life, so they can eat meals without stress and actually enjoy them. All right, so let's jump right into these 5 things. But first, I want to just share a little story with you. When I was first focusing on my health, like way back when, 20 plus years ago, and I was really struggling with a lot of constipation and gas and bloating and skin rashes, I saw this sea of supplements on the market and I was like, what the heck should I take? So I just started taking random supplements. Some might help, some might not help, but I didn't do it very systematically or methodically, and that was kind of problematic because I was spending so much money on supplements and I didn't know which ones were actually helping and which ones were maybe doing more harm than good, and which ones were high quality and which ones weren't, right? So there's a lot to know about supplements. So after doing this work for 15 plus years and helping thousands of patients and clients get relief from symptoms and feel better in their bodies, I want to share with you my top 5 supplements for general health. These are not gut specific today. I'm going to do that in another video. Let's start with the foundations, because without the foundations, let's face it, you are missing the boat. We have to start with the foundations. Any sort of fancy interventions beyond the foundations can happen after you've laid the foundation. Right? It's like if you were building a house and you tried to just build the house on a piece of, just a plot of grass without actually building the foundation, everything's going to shift and settle and you're going to end up with a super wonky house. So let's pour the foundation in a way that's going to help you thrive. So let's go. We're going to talk about what each of these are. We're going to talk about why they're important for overall health. We're going to talk about what to look for when buying them. So supplement number 1 is a multivitamin. This might seem pretty obvious to you, but a lot of people don't take a multivitamin. The research is pretty clear that people who take multivitamins are healthier. We don't actually know if that's because the multivitamin is actually healthier or the people who take multivitamins are more likely to be healthier people and have healthier habits, right? There's a little bit of interesting data on multivitamins, but the thing that I see over and over again in my practice is that multivitamins are really like a health insurance policy. They are your nutritional insurance policy. So many people, even with the best diet, are not getting the nutrients that they need from food alone. Even if you were to eat 100% organic, whole foods, amazing diet, I can almost guarantee you with soil depletions and other things, you're not going to get all the nutrients that you need from your food. So I really like to have just a very simple, basic, super high quality, 1-a-day type product that is going to give you the foundational nutrition that you need. Vitamins, minerals, and the really good ones that I like typically have some phytonutrients or other like seaweeds or other extra bonuses as well to support the phytonutrients in your body. If you're not sure what phytonutrients are, they're basically nutrients from plants that are not vitamins or minerals. All right, so a good quality multivitamin basically helps fill the gaps that might be missing from your diet. It's not going to be so much quantity that it's going to help you overcome a deficiency, but it would certainly help prevent deficiencies to make sure that your body is getting what it needs to function optimally. And that's the goal with a multivitamin. So when you're thinking about what to choose, I really like to look for multivitamins that are whole food plant-based style, that's one option, or super high quality laboratory manufactured multivitamins that have methylated B vitamins. So whether you know or not if you have a methylation issue, methylated B vitamins can be really helpful for a lot of people, but not all people. So it's helpful to understand what's going on with your body. Methylated B vitamins are going to have like the methyl form. If you read the ingredients label, it's going to say methyl B something or other. Or like, if for example, for folate, it'll say methylfolate versus folic acid, for example. Also, when I'm looking at the label of multivitamins, I really like to look for chelated minerals. So if they have chelated minerals, they tend to be better absorbed, particularly for those with gut issues who have trouble with absorption in the first place. So chelated minerals, and how you'll see those on the ingredients panel is they will just say something chelate. is how you can look for a chelated mineral. It'll say like something chelate is one example. Not all of them will have that. Some of the chelated minerals will actually have other descriptions, but that's just one example. All right. Also, I want you to look for something that's third-party tested, making sure that it's pure, it's professional grade, it's quality. It's not just expensive urine. So let's be real here. So many multivitamins are just expensive urine. The forms that they're in are so poorly bioavailable that they just go in and they just go right out. I'm thinking your standard drugstore, grocery store, one-a-day type products. I do not recommend them. I much prefer capsule-based multivitamins and multiminerals whenever possible because they're going to just be much better absorbed. Not always, but a lot of the time. All right, let's move on to vitamin D. This is supplement number 2 that is one of my favorites. So vitamin D is known as the sunshine vitamin. So vitamin D is essential for your immune system. It's essential for bone health. It's essential for mental health. It's essential for so many different functions in the body. And so many people, especially those living in northern climates, do not get enough from the sun or food alone. So the best bet is going to be to supplement with vitamin D. And I don't actually recommend going over 2,000 international units a day if you haven't tested your vitamin D levels and you don't know what they are. Vitamin D can be toxic because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. So you definitely want to get your vitamin D levels tested, something that's pretty easy to do. Or the next time you get your labs drawn, you can certainly ask your doctor to order vitamin D or 25-OHD as part of your lab panel so you know how much vitamin D you need. Because it's so important, it's really helpful to dose it appropriately. But if you don't know how much you need, and it's winter time like it is right now, 2,000 IUs is usually a pretty good place to start. And I also would consider when I'm buying vitamin D, making sure it's good quality. And also I almost always like to buy vitamin D with vitamin K2 combined. Some of the liquids are my favorites because you can dose them like 1,000 IUs of vitamin D is 1 drop, for example. And when they're combined with K2, it just becomes a very easy supplement to take and incorporate into your day. There's also capsule forms or tablet forms as well. So lots of different options for vitamin D. Just keep in mind quality is important. And vitamin K2, if you're not sure if that's something that would be helpful for you, be sure to ask your doctor. The main contraindication with vitamin K2 is if somebody is on like blood thinners. That would be the only word of caution. Somebody who is on like Coumadin or something like that would definitely want to avoid taking vitamin K2. But for most other people, it's a wonderful supplement and super, super helpful. All right, that brings me to number 3. Number 3 is omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids are essential for the body. They help reduce inflammation, they help support brain function, they promote heart health, and so many other functions in the body. And unfortunately, so many of our American diets are so rich in omega-6 fats that the ratio of omega-3 fats to omega-6 fats gets really skewed. So it becomes very high in omega-6s and very low in omega-3s, and that is a super inflammatory state to be in, right? This creates an imbalance in your fats, and this drives inflammation. So what we can do is to shift this ratio is increase our omega-3 fats. We can do this with seafood. We can do this with things like wild-caught salmon or sardines, mackerel. Those are all really good sources of omega-3 fatty acids. We can also take an omega-3 fatty acid supplement. And if you are a plant-based eater, they have some algae forms as well that are pretty high quality. They do require some conversion to the active forms of omega-3s, but they are really helpful if you do not eat fish or seafood. So when you're looking for an omega-3 supplement, what I want you to look for is something that's in the triglyceride form. It will say triglyceride form on the front of the bottle, the back of the bottle, somewhere in really big writing, or even small writing, but you want to look for triglyceride form because the research on omega-3 fatty acids shows that the triglyceride form basically means that when they're purifying the fatty acids, they take them apart. So there's a backbone and then 3 fatty acids. And most fish oils on the market, most omega-3 fatty acids on the market are just individual like fatty acids floating in space. And they are far less beneficial for health than the triglyceride form, where at the end of the production process or the end of the purification process, they actually reassemble them into the backbone and the 3 fatty acids. So that's called triglyceride form. So that's what I would be looking for if I'm looking for an omega-3 supplement. Many of the higher quality, probably more expensive supplements are going to be triglyceride form. And it is absolutely 100% true. You get what you pay for when it comes to fish oil. So make sure that you're buying a good quality because we don't want to take a fish oil that is pro-inflammatory because it's rancid, it's spoiled, it's not in the right form. We're taking it to be anti-inflammatory. So make sure it's a good one. Another sort of bonus tip when it comes to omega-3 fatty acids, I really like to aim for about 1,000 milligrams. Sometimes I go higher than that with some clients if it's warranted, but usually about 1,000 milligrams of a combination of EPA and DHA is a really good place to start for a therapeutic benefit of omega-3 fatty acids. And of course, if you have a piece of fish for dinner one day, just skip your omega-3. You don't have to have it. It's really to help fill in the gaps, just like the multivitamin that we already discussed. All right, next up, number 4 is magnesium. So magnesium is often talked about in the gut health world pretty often, but the reason is because it's super important. Magnesium is involved in over 300 different biochemical processes in the body. It's essential for energy, for muscle recovery, for sleep, for digestion. And if you are deficient, which many people are actually deficient in magnesium, and you don't get enough, this is going to definitely impact digestion, your ability to handle stress, your sleep, and so many other things. So if you're stressed, you're going to burn through magnesium faster. If you're not eating enough nutrient-rich whole foods, or you're on a restricted diet, an elimination diet, a long-term elimination diet, you're going to be deficient in magnesium, very likely. So what do? I would definitely recommend incorporating some magnesium into your diet. Not all magnesium is created equal. In fact, there's many different forms of magnesium on the market, and it is probably one of the most asked questions I get from clients when they first start working with me about what supplements to take, right? What do I do? Okay, so I found mag oxide and magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate and magnesium threonate and magnesium, there's so many different forms of magnesium. It can be very confusing. But let me break sort of 3 of my favorites down real quick so that you know what to look for. The first one is magnesium citrate. Magnesium citrate is great for relieving constipation. I often swap out Miralax for magnesium citrate if we're trying to get someone to go to the bathroom regularly, at least to get them started. So magnesium citrate can be great for relieving constipation because it draws water into the colon. Magnesium glycinate is another one that's pretty fantastic. Less helpful for constipation, much more helpful or very helpful for relaxation and sleep. So if somebody's struggling with sleep, we might do some magnesium glycinate before bed. Another one is magnesium threonate. So if a lot of the problems or challenges that someone is experiencing is kind of neurological challenges like memory loss or brain fog or fatigue, something like that, I might go for the other form, which is magnesium threonate, because it's known to cross the blood-brain barrier and it can be very supportive for mental health. However, there are some products actually that combine all of these together. So sometimes people want all of the benefits of all these different forms of magnesium, and they might take a product that has multiple forms of magnesium in it versus taking one of these and one of these and one of these, right? So there's lots of different ways to do it. Don't get too carried away with magnesium unless you are working with a healthcare provider who can support you on dosing and understanding and making sure that your magnesium levels aren't going too high in your blood. Last but not least, number 5 on my list of 5 favorite sort of foundational, basic supports for overall health is a probiotic. This is not essential for everybody, but the people in my world typically are struggling with gut issues. And if you haven't tried a probiotic, I would definitely recommend giving it a try. It influences everything from digestion to immunity to mental health. Your gut microbiome is responsible for so many different functions in the body. However, what I do not recommend is going willy-nilly and just grabbing one off the grocery store shelf and hoping that it's going to work, because it's probably not. So we know that our gut microbiome is really helpful and essential for overall health. What we also know is that gone are the days where you can just pick one off the shelf and hope it works. We know that there are specific strains of probiotics that are beneficial for specific things. So someone who's experiencing constipation might choose a different probiotic than someone who's experiencing reflux. Someone who's experiencing diarrhea might choose a different probiotic from someone who is having a lot of gas or flatulence. Right? So choosing your probiotic wisely can be really helpful. And many of them have a whole bunch of different strains. Some are super high potency, some are very low potency. Some are refrigerated, some are not refrigerated. So do a little bit of due diligence and figure out what the right ones are for you. If you're looking for sort of just general gut support, some of my favorites are Lactobacillus acidophilus or Bifidobacterium lactis, 2 strains that you might see if you turn over your yogurt container. Many of the yogurt brands will contain those 2 strains. You can take them in probiotic form. You can also get probiotics through fermented foods. So while it's not a supplement, I do love fermented foods. If you're looking for something to support immunity, for example, you might choose a strain more like Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, for example. But the key here is you want to choose a probiotic that actually has the strains listed. That would be number 1. And number 2, make sure that what you're taking the probiotic for, if you're going to take a probiotic, is actually researched to benefit the thing that you're taking it for, or it's not going to help you. Choosing probiotics willy-nilly is not very helpful. So if you need some support on this, you know where to find me. Also, like, the thing with probiotics is that the colony forming units, or CFU, label on the package, front of the package, back of the package, next to each of the strains of the probiotics. That's pretty important. The CFU means colony forming units, and that is how much is in there. How many colony forming units of that particular probiotic are in that serving? They can range from like 1 billion, a couple million, all the way up to 100 billion, right? So huge variety in the potency of probiotics, and more isn't always better. So there's a lot to think about with probiotics, and I could do, a 4-hour lecture on probiotics alone at least. We're not going to get into that right now, but I just want to say, choose them wisely, do your due diligence. If you have questions, ask so that you get the right one. So last but not least, I just want to summarize here. So these 5 supplements, we talked about a multivitamin, vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, and a targeted probiotic. Not a willy-nilly probiotic, but a targeted probiotic. These are really my go-to recommendations for building health and resilience in the body, not just for people with gut issues, but really for general health. So when you focus on quality, they can really make a noticeable difference in your overall health and how you feel every day. And sometimes when you start incorporating some of these foundational supplements, we don't need the fancy ones. We don't need all the specific ones that are very fancy and often expensive to try and fix problems because we've corrected some of the underlying deficiencies, for example. So these are where I would start if I was concerned about my health or wanting to support health. And in a future video, of course, I'll be diving more into specific gut-specific supplements, things like enzymes, a little bit more on probiotics, things like L-glutamine and collagen, and a lot of these questions that I get asked all the time as a gut health nutritionist. So I just want to keep you in the loop. Stay tuned for that. And if you're still feeling confused about which supplements are right for you, that's what I help women do and what I help women figure out in my Gut Balance Method program. I can't wait to catch up with you soon. Take care.